Hi everyone, this is Ashwini. Welcome to CKA Set Hands-On channel. The purpose of my channel is to get people who want to give CKA 2025 get started on their hands-on practicing journey once they finish the formal course of CKA and have a basic understanding of Kubernetes concepts. This creates a depth in your understanding of each concept and helps you crack CKA exam. As you can see here, we've got all these weightages for each category that can appear in CKA exam. Currently, we are working on the section Workloads and Scheduling, and we are looking at the config maps to configure the application. So let's quickly get started with the lab. We'll set the context, and it says within the default namespace there is a web application deployment, web app deployment that relies on an environment variable that can change frequently. You need to manage this environment variable using a config map. Follow these steps. Create a new config map and with the key value pair, and update the deployment to utilize the newly created config map. Okay. Now want to show you there is a very quick way to create using imperatively config map with especially you have just one key value. You basically create config map, name of the config map, and you use minus minus from literal and the key and the value. Okay, that it is just a one line and it just quickly creates it. So let's just create the config map. This is how you, I think we have had a similar exercise for secrets as well. Same, you use minus minus from literal, right? Instead of config map you specify it as a secret. You also have to encode it, base64 encode it, because it is a secret and it needs to be encrypted. But in a config map, it's a plain data, plain text, can be stored in plain text, and it does not have to be encrypted. So it's created now. If I describe the config map, we have application web app. Now update the deployment to utilize the newly created config map. So we'll just edit the deployment directly, web app deployment, and there is an example to how you can use the config map inside a pod. So you use the environment variable and then the value from, and then the config map key reference, and then the name of the config map and the key, your key in the config map that you're referring to. So you need to understand this a little bit. Okay, this is the environment variable special level key that is being passed to this test container. Now it is just a name of the environment variable. Now where is this getting the value from? The value is coming from a config map, and the name of the config map is special config in this case, and the key is special how. So it is the value of that key. So we don't change anything in the name of the environment variable. We just remove the value and then add a value from, and then specify the reference to the config map key reference. Remember that it is a key reference in order, and then you will, so what does it need? The parameters are your name of your config map and the key in the config map. So we'll go back to our we'll just copy paste the whole thing and then update it with the values. So if you see here right now, it has an application and it has a value. So we'll just get rid of the value. Now the value is no more coming from the deployment configuration, but it is coming from a config map. It's a value from. And then we have to specify the name of the config map. and you're not specifying the whole thing, of course. You have to specify the key, which is our application. Okay, that's it. Now if we describe the deployment web app, we should see some scaling down and scaling up of the pods. Scale down replica, scaled up replica. So this fairly new. These pods are 33 seconds after we have updated the deployment. So, and you should actually see, okay, we actually can see it here. Now we have an environment, we have an application. It is set to the key application of configmap, web app deployment configmap. So, and we have already seen our application, so the value is web app. So it's getting the value from the configmap. Let's check. That's validated. Fine. This is how you can use a configmap key to get the to set the value of an environment variable in a deployment. If you think my videos are helpful, please do like my videos, comment if you have any feedback, and share and subscribe to my channel. I will be uploading more videos on workloads and scheduling, and also will be providing the KillerCoda link and the documentation link for you to do that lab as well. I will see you in the next video. Until then, happy learning. Bye.